But this morning, the main meat of the matter is Dr. Bawumia's gold for oil that he called a novelty. Back in school, when we studied social anthropology of Africa, we were taught about barter trade, reciprocity and balanced reciprocity and all of that. But Dr. Bawumia came to tell us about 6 or so months ago that his gold for oil is a novelty. Listen to him as he tells us what gold for oil will achieve. Listen.
To build up our reserves in gold. And the gold program started last year, and it is proceeding quite well. But to address this fundamental challenge that we all face of the persistent depreciation and its impact on fuel, in utility prices, food, and so on, government has opted to implement a policy of using our gold to buy oil products. That is something new. And it is the barter of sustainably mined gold for oil. And this is one of the most important economic policy changes in Ghana since independence. If we implement it as we have envisioned, it will fundamentally change our balance of payments and significantly reduce the persistent depreciation of our currency with its associated increases in fuel, electricity, water, transport, and food prices. Why would it stop these persistent increases in fuel, water, and food prices? It is very simple. This is because the exchange rate, whether you are looking at the spot exchange rate or the forward exchange rate, will no longer directly enter the formula for the determination of fuel or utility prices once we implement this, because the purchases of fuel and for transport and utility is going to be in cedis. It's not going to be in dollars. So because you're buying that fuel with gold, that is where the exchange takes place. But once you sell that fuel, you sell it in cedis. And then the Bank of Ghana uses those cedis to buy more gold and buy the oil, you sell it, and then it goes around in that way. But essentially, you are taking the exchange rate out of the equation. Today, our fuel prices are being priced at an exchange rate, a forward exchange rate of 19 cedis to the US dollar. Today, what we are paying at the pump is being priced at 19 cedis to the US dollar. So you can imagine when you price without the exchange rate in the formula, which is what is going to happen. We've already done some simulations. Then you will see that the prices of fuel will come down. And similarly, for PURC, if the exchange rate doesn't enter the equation, which it shouldn't because the transactions will be in cedis, similarly then electricity tariffs will also have to come down. Because what you are now going to see, because one of the biggest, when you look at what drives fuel price increases, what drives electricity price increases, and therefore the cost of doing business, it's fundamentally the exchange rate.
Did the Vice President speak the truth on this occasion? Did he give us the facts? Because the government seems to be lost in its own narrative that the fuel price that they met, which was for a full gallon of fuel, less than 5 cedis, we are now buying a liter of fuel for how much? And the government seems to suggest that the prices have come down. How do you compare what was less than 5 cedis for a whole gallon to now a liter? Gold for oil. And the realistic questions are being asked over and over again. He spoke about utility. ECG prices have gone up. Water has also gone up. We still have the gold for oil. Is the Bank of Ghana pulling out of the gold for oil? And are they going to pull out because it's an IMF requirement? And did our champion economists not know that this was going to set us into a ditch. In fact, Honorable Kennedy Japan, who also wants to be president just like Dr. Baumia, when they started, he said it doesn't make sense. Why don't we sell our gold, get our own money, and go and buy the oil that we want? Like I always tell people, say, oh, we're trying to give you, the opportunity to. I say, boss, no, I'm doing this for you. Pay me. If you pay me, I can do whatever it is that you're seeking to do for me without paying me. So then the question now is, how much of our gold has been sold and who has been buying the gold, as Dr. Steve Mantia, our former boss of PIAC, is asking? There's too much opacity around the gold for oil deal.